Do you ever just say yes to something, even though you know it's insane? Hi, I'm Cam. I'm an illustrator, an animator, and I make movies. Hope you like them. It's 2015, and me and my partner Felicity, we're living in a cupboard in Minneapolis. It's not an exaggeration, we were literally living in a cupboard in Minneapolis. Just a few months earlier, we'd found that we were out of a job. We were filming a video series in Cambodia for a travel insurance company. Then one day, their marketing budget got slashed. We were collateral damage. No more ads, no more us. Some friends of ours said, why don't you come crash with us in Minneapolis? We've got a cupboard, we can put up a curtain, put a futon in there, and you can just stay with us until you figure out what you're gonna do. So we're like, yeah, that sounds great, thank you. Okay. So we fly from Southeast Asia to the freezing state of Minnesota. The only problem was, we used the last of our money to get there. So now we're in Minneapolis and we're unemployed and broke, but at least we have our cupboard. Now we didn't have a work visa, so to get money we had to work these weird cash jobs that we found on Craigslist. The most common was cleaning hoarder houses, which I definitely don't recommend. But the money that we made from cleaning was only enough to sustain us. You know, buy groceries, that sort of thing. So we're working, but we're still broke. We're just existing. Legally, we had 90 days that we could spend in America, but then our time started running out and we still didn't have the money for a plane ticket back home. In hindsight, it was a very dumb idea. Then one day, we saw an ad. It said, golf cart drivers needed for music festival taxi service. So we send off a text saying that we're interested, and we get a reply. Awesome, let's chat. Chris. So we meet Chris. We meet him in a coffee shop. Now, to understand who Chris is, you gotta picture a tough guy. The kind of guy that you'd definitely walk on the other side of the street from, and the kind of guy that, honestly, you'd steer clear from in prison. Basically, Chris looked like he was taking a break from Hell's Angels to come have coffee with his weird backpacker friends. But inside, Chris was a teddy bear. So Chris gives it to us straight. He goes, here's the deal. We're gonna go down to Arizona for a 4-day music festival called Country Thunder USA.
Country Thunder is really about the camping and the campground. Acres and acres of campground. And if you don't have the right ride, you'll be walking.
The festival ground is huge, and so are the patrons. They don't want to walk. We've hired 30 golf carts and we want you to drive one of them as a taxi service around the festival grounds. You'll have 5 seats on your golf cart and you can charge $3 per seat. At the end of the festival, you give us $2,000 and you keep whatever's left over. But there's a catch. If you don't make the $2,000, you owe us the remainder. If you only make $1,500, you'll owe us $500. But if you make $2,500, you'll get $500. So, he says, are you in? At this point I'm thinking, man, making $2,000 off $3 lifts, I just can't see it in my head. Plus, I definitely don't have the money to pay him back if I don't make the $2,000. But on the other hand, me and Felicity, collectively together, only had $11 to our name. So we figured beggars can't be choosers. Why not? We'll just roll the dice and see what happens, eh? Yep, I tell him, we're in.
Services run several dozen golf carts this weekend at Country Thunder. Then it's off to the next music festival.
Next minute, we're on a bus and I meet the full team. We've got Chris, his brother Adam, and their friend Jared. And these guys, well, they're a lot of fun. Then we've got the 28 other golf cart taxi drivers. These people were all super lovely and gave me the biggest insight into American slacker culture that I could ever have. They'd trim weed, they'd buy all their cigarettes from reservations, and some of them would even consent to medical testing for a quick buck. It was insane, man. I liked them. We drive those 35 hours to Florence, Arizona.
But the majority of times, Florence couldn't find a better place to live.
About 70% of the official residents of Florence never drive on the roads. They don't go to the public schools, and they're not at the senior center either. They all live behind barbed wire and bars.
A town of 26,000 people, only known for having Country Thunder USA and a pretty notorious prison. So we get into the festival grounds and we start setting up our tents. Chris said that his tone would change in there, and it did. He gave us a briefing. And he said this, if any of you guys steal any money, charge more than the fee, drink and drive, or act like a dickhead, I will kick you out in the desert. He meant it. You could tell. 10 minutes later, he comes up to me and Felicity, and he goes, oh, don't worry guys, I just say that scary stuff for those dodgy looking Californian kids. Keeps them in line. You guys will be fine. Just have fun.
A hootin', hollerin' good time this weekend in Florence. Gates opened up and music fans got their campsites ready for one of the biggest country music festivals in the nation.
I made a fool of myself last night, so I came over here. They didn't like me so much. I told them good morning, and then they didn't respond.
Holy smokes, man. That was some wild shit. I had one of those moments where I was like, what the hell am I doing? I was driving a golf cart in the desert, carting rednecks from their $500,000 RVs to the stages of country singers who are apparently famous, but I've never heard of them. And they were giving me $3. But because it was America, they were also giving me a tip. Because I was Australian, they went apeshit with said tipping. Man, people were just throwing money at me just to say stuff in my funny accent. I felt like this down under jukebox. I don't even have to try, it's just my voice. As the night falls, all your customers become drunker, and the tips, they get healthier. I had one guy come up to me and he gave me a 20 and he said, "Will you drive me to that food truck stand over there so I can buy a pizza?" The food truck was 10 feet away. I drop him off after 10 feet, he gives me the 20, and goddamn dude, I've never seen a more grateful redneck in my life. It was beautiful. Every couple of hours, I'd drive back to Chris, Adam and Jared, who had a tent to the base camp. Then I'd give them my cash. They were keeping a tab on how close I was getting to that $2,000 mark. As I gave them $100, I was like, dude, I'm nervous that I'm not gonna make it. I'm nervous I'm not gonna make the $2,000. So Chris says, man, you will. Just have faith. Also, if you wanna make some real money, don't sleep. Completely cooked on USA Strength energy drinks, I got to bed at 4 a.m. in the freezing cold Arizona desert. Like an idiot, I didn't pack a jumper. It's the desert, right? Doesn't get cold. Day 2. I woke up 3 hours later at 7 a.m. I'd never seen so many Confederate flags in my life. Everyone there was white, and the one black dude I did see, he was wearing a Confederate flag shirt as well. Driving through all these caravan parks, I saw so many games of cornhole that the name stopped being funny. I saw these rednecks at one point, and they're just polishing a gun, handing it around for the other rednecks to inspect. I'm like, damn, this is America. Meanwhile, I keep getting my $3 for a seat, my crazy Australian accent tips, and then I got held hostage. These drunk rednecks were so obsessed with the fact that I was Australian that they were paying me to hang out with them. But then they wouldn't let me leave. At one point, I was actually driving around one of the country singers. He was one of the headliners. I won't say his name. No, fuck it, I will. It was We get back to his caravan, and he says, "How much you make an hour?" So I kind of lie. I add a little bit. I say, $100. He hands me a friggin' Benjamin. He goes, "Here's 100. Let's party." Me and this country star, right? We have this shots of whiskey. He shares a joint with me. Heck, he gives me a guitar, and we even have a little jam. As the hour passes, I'm like, "All right, man, I gotta go." And he says, "No, you gotta stay. You can't go anywhere. We're partying." He wouldn't let me leave. So I turn into my walkie-talkie and I say, Chris, this is gonna sound super weird, but I'm hanging out with at his caravan. I need you to come, catch me with a beer and arrest me for drink driving and fire me on the spot so I can go. Then I hear Chris's reply.
"Dude, I'm gonna fucking love this."
Chris starts laughing over the walkie-talkie, but then the laughing gets me caught. This country star, he turns to me, he looks visibly hurt and he says, "I heard all of that. If you wanna go, just go." I looked at him and I couldn't help but think, if you want to go, just go. Sounds like a country song. Bye, bitch. I fucking legged it. So the days roll on and I keep carting around these drunk rednecks. By the start of day 3, I'd made my $2,000. And that is when the motivation kicked in. From now on, every dollar that I earned was my dollar. Man, in that first ride, I tripled my net worth from $11 to $33. Boom, baby. Warren Buffett shit. But just like everything, it came with a price. Patrons of the music festival had started to cotton on that the golf cart taxi drivers were carrying quite a bit of cash. Night falls on that 3rd day, and I hear Adam, Chris's brother, over the receiver. He says,
"Some asshole just punched me in the face, and he took my fucking cash."
There's a pause. I hear Chris's voice come back.
"Let's fucking fuck this guy up. If anyone sees him, chase him."
At the time of getting this message, I got these 2 young girls in my cart, and all 3 of us kind of go, damn, that's pretty intense. And then boom, we see this guy running past with Adam's bag. He's the thief. He's the guy who's got the cash. I turn to the girls, I'm like, "I'm so sorry to do this, but I've got to chase that guy." And in typical Southern hospitality, they say, "Go for it. That guy's a dick." So I start chasing this guy down. And a couple of other golf carts, they all see him too. So now there's 4 of us and we're all driving at this guy, but he's ducking in between the caravans, trying to get away from us. And then I hear this sound. I turn around and I see something fucking nuts. It's Jared. He's got a quad bike, and standing up behind the quad bike is Chris. And he's swinging these chains, these big, thick chains like a mace above his head. This shit was real. Jared parks the quad bike, finds the guy, pushes him to the ground and shoves his knee right in the guy's head. Meanwhile, Chris walks over, still swinging the chains. This is not Chris's first rodeo.
"Listen up, asshole,"
he tells him. He's swinging the chains. He walks kindly over like he's come straight out of hell because hell wasn't fun enough.
"I don't want to get the police involved here, and I know you don't want me to fuck you up with these chains, but if you even give me the hint of a reason, well, I guess we're gonna have some fun."
Meanwhile, this guy is fucking shitting himself, man.
"So,
Chris says,
give me the fucking money."
The guy pauses. Jared's knee goes further into his skull, pinning him more onto the ground. Chris's chains come dangerously close to this guy's face. Sure enough, they get the money. At this point, the guy's expecting to be let go. But Chris says,
You know, on second thoughts, I am gonna call the police.
he walks over to me and he says,
Cam, be a bro. Take this. I don't want the police seeing me with it.
he hands me a switchblade and tells me to drive far away from the scene. I figure, fuck it. I like this guy. I'll help. As I'm driving away from this insane scene holding this switchblade, I think, man, it's probably the craziest thing I'll see all night. Then I passed a brand new Chevy upside down in an aqueduct that a 16-year-old had drunk driven and crashed. What can I say? It was a pretty weird night. Day 4 rolls around and I finish the music festival, $1,500 American dollars richer. Damn. We all have a bit of a party and drive back to Minneapolis. The first thing I bought with my new money was a burger. The second thing I bought was that plane ticket back home. I couldn't thank Chris enough. Not only had this guy given me one of the most insane weeks of my life, but he'd also given me the opportunity to make the cash that I needed to get out of the country, and also tick something off my bucket list. With the money left over, I managed to make it down to Utah and climb Angel's Landing in Zion National Park. Something that I've always wanted to do ever since I was a kid. Here's a photo I took of Felicity at the top. It's friggin' incredible, man. So me and the festival taxi people, we all became Facebook friends and we all stayed in touch. When you share something like that with someone, you never really feel like they're just an acquaintance. Fast forward to 2019. Last week, actually. I'm scrolling through Facebook and I see a status. It's from Adam, Chris's brother. It said, words can't even justify the pain, loss, or reasoning of my brother's unexpected death today. Can't believe it's real. True. But it is. My big brother. One of the few of the remaining family I have left is gone. Such a one-of-a-kind man, father, grandpa, son, brother. So much I always wanted to make him proud. Be like him, in as many ways as we were different. Love you with every cell of my body, Chris Vidakis. R.I.P. bro. Chris passed away last week, and I don't think I ever got the chance to truly thank him for how much he helped me. So I made this video to say this. You never know how you're going to impact people in this world. I only knew Chris for a few weeks, and he completely changed the course of my own history. We all have stories like this. You meet a stranger, you become instant friends, and you share some crazy experience. Then time ticks on, and they become a character in a crazy dinner party story. And to other people around the world, well, you're the stranger. You're the one who's unknowingly moved them. And so that's what this video is. It's a tribute. It's a tribute to Chris, it's a tribute to Chance, and it's a tribute to all the strangers out there who've ever changed your life, whether they know it or not.